Please feel free to use the restrooms if you need it. They're just out to the hallway to your right, or get a drink. We'll get started in about 5 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. I would invite you to please take your seat, and we are about to begin our program, our pre-program before dinner. I'd like to welcome everyone to the University of Wisconsin-Superior Yellow Jacket Athletics Hall of Fame induction ceremony. My name is Maria Cuzo, and it is my privilege to serve as the interim chancellor at UW-Superior at this time. On behalf of our entire university, thank you for joining us tonight as we honor the remarkable accomplishments and careers of 6 outstanding individuals with their induction into our Athletics Hall of Fame. This evening provides us with a beautiful opportunity to celebrate and reflect on the rich tradition and very proud history of Yellow Jacket athletics. For generations, our student athletes, coaches, and teams have represented UW Superior with integrity, determination, and excellence. Their achievements have strengthened our institution in so many ways, fostered lifelong connections for everyone involved, and helped shape the legacy of our university. Yellow Jacket athletics has long been an integral part of our university. It enhances the educational experience of our student athletes, deepens our community as a whole, and instills values that extend far beyond competition. Through athletics, our students develop leadership, resilience, teamwork, and a commitment to excellence that serves them throughout their lives. And I know we have many people in the room tonight that know exactly what I'm talking about. We are deeply proud of the role Yellow Jacket Athletics plays in advancing the mission of our university and enriching the lives of our students and alumni. The individuals we recognize tonight represent the very best of that tradition. Their accomplishments reflect exceptional competitive success and inspirational careers worthy of our recognition. Induction into our Hall of Fame is the highest honor our university can bestow to an individual. Membership in the Hall of Fame is reserved for those whose accomplishments have truly left an amazing, enduring mark on our athletics program, uplifted communities, and whose legacies continue to inspire future generations of Yellow Jackets. Tonight's inductees join an extraordinary group of student athletes, coaches, administrators, and supporters whose contributions have shaped the history of our institution. At this time, I would like to invite all current members of our Athletics Hall of Fame who are with us this evening to please stand so that we may recognize your extraordinary contributions. And on a personal note, I had the privilege earlier this afternoon at 2 o'clock to join the Erlenbach family of former Chancellor Julius Erlenbach in a celebration of life ceremony. It was a beautiful, eclectic gathering of people from across all the spectrums of Chancellor Erlenbach's life. And as I was leaving the ceremony, I had a chance to visit with his wife, Becky, and she quickly grabbed this particular poster, which went back to the time, oops, sorry, which went back to the time that he was inducted into the Yellow Jackets Hall of Fame. And I just thought I would bring the personal wishes and best wishes of the Erlenbach family to all of you tonight, as was Becky's desire. The achievements The dedication and achievements of our existing Hall of Fame members have established the standard of excellence upon which Yellow Jacket Athletics continues to build. We are grateful for the attendance tonight and for your continued connection to our university, and your support of our university is deeply, deeply appreciated. To Jeff, Nate, Connie, Mark, Alice, and John, congratulations. It is our distinct pleasure to recognize your extraordinary contributions and to permanently enshrine your legacy as part of our university's proud history. We hope this recognition brings you a profound sense of accomplishment and joy. Your achievements and dedication have helped shape the tradition of excellence we celebrate today, and your place in the Yellow Jacket Hall of Fame is both well-earned and richly deserved. To begin our evening, we invite you to enjoy dinner, as tables are excused by our catering team. You'll get a signal from our catering team as to when it is your turn to go into line. Please take the time tonight to enjoy each other's company, and once again, a warm welcome to this fabulous celebration. Thank you all.
let's try this again. Good evening. For everyone who follows me to the microphone, this is how close you should be so that everyone can hear you. We'll be doing a class after the ceremony. Good evening, everyone. My name is John Munson. I'm an alum of UW Superior twice. I didn't get it right the first time, so I came back and got a different degree. And I'm also a proud member of this Hall of Fame. It is both an honor and a privilege to be here as your Master of Ceremonies this evening. And I invite you, first of all, to continue with your meal as we move into the start of tonight's program. And before we go any further, how about a round of applause for the people who produced this wonderful feast here tonight? It was delicious. Those who are being inducted into the Hall of Fame this evening have every right to feel proud to be included among those already in the Hall of Fame. It is a sign of the university's recognition of your accomplishments and a permanent reminder to others of what you have contributed to UW Superior athletics. And speaking as an inductee, I congratulate all of you on the level of excellence you attained and welcome you to the most prestigious club at the University of Wisconsin-Superior. And by the way, there is no secret handshake. That was just a rumor. And without further ado, let's begin the program with our first induction. The Yellow Jacket men's hockey team claimed the institution's first national championship in 1976. They got hot at the right time, garnering a record of 8-1 in the month of February and scoring 60 goals. The Yellow Jackets would go 3-0 in the NAIA tournament, which includes an 8-5 victory over crosstown rival St. Scholastica for the national championship just up the street at our own Westman Arena. The 1975-76 team was inducted into this Hall of Fame back in 1987, and 4 of those players would follow in recent years. Tonight, Jeff Bottom becomes the player number 5 from the group to be inducted. Jeff played a pivotal role in the team's success. He would find himself leading the team's record book in assists at the end of his career. In a single season, Jeff finished with 39 assists while collecting a total of 115 points. Both of these marks, after 50 years, still hold true to this day. It is with great honor that we induct Jeff Bottom into the UW Superior Athletic Hall of Fame.
Well, hello everybody. I'm glad to see some of my teammates are here tonight, and even some of my high school teammates showed up, so thank you guys for coming. My brother too, from Thief River Falls, so. At least I'll stay honest. These guys are gonna keep me honest here tonight, so who knows what came out of my mouth if they weren't here. So I'd sure like to thank the UWS Athletic Department and the Selection Committee for this great honor to be standing up here tonight. Thank you very much. I sure do appreciate it. I sure am a lucky guy that I came to UWS. Got an education, a nickname, a job, and we won a national championship. So what more could you ask for? I'm up here because of these assists, so I guess I better say something about them. Back then, we never thought anything about it because the records were being broken every year or two, especially when Mass Fukushima was starting here. And so for this to go 50 years, I just don't get it, but here we are. I can tell you how I got these assists. When you're throughout your career, you're playing with most of your teammates, but for the most part, you're playing with your line mates. And I got to play with Scott Van Dam for 3 years, and he's still the all-time goal scorer. So thank you, Scott, and you're welcome too. So I also played with on the same line with Steve Anderson, Mike Hendrickson, Rick Harris, and all our great defensemen. So the assists added up pretty quickly playing with these guys. Thanks to all my teammates, whoever made a goal shortly after I touched the puck. So I remember coming here as a freshman. I didn't know much about Superior, or I knew nothing about it, nor their players or their team. And I figured, well, I hope these guys are pretty good. And, I figured if they weren't, I'd have to show them how we did it in Thief River. And, we got on the ice shortly after that, and these guys were really good. And I was a little bit worried about making the team at that point, so I wasn't going to show these guys how to do anything. But we got through that first year, and at that point, it was the best record we had up until then. And we only had one senior on the team. So the next year, my sophomore year, and that's probably the best team that we had in the 70s, no doubt. But it wasn't my best year. I remember I had kind of a hat trick myself in a different way. I got a hernia, I got knocked out cold in Bemidji, and I got benched a game. And, I don't know which one hurt the worst, but I think it was the hernia. So, we had a good year that year, but we fell short and had to say goodbye to Fukushima, and that was it for that year. And then we went on to my junior year. Of course, that's the year we won it. And we had 7 seniors that year on the team. They were all great players. And, I remember we got in the tournament, and we played River Falls first, and we beat them by 5. Next night, we played the number 1 seed, Bemidji State. And we hung on for a 4-3 win, and then, of course, we played St. Scholastica the next night and won 8-5, and we were sure a happy bunch of guys, and we'd been riding that thing for 50 years and still going. And then we get into my senior year, and Wally went out and got a whole bunch of freshmen. It was 12, 15, I don't know, there's a whole herd of them, and went out and got a real nice schedule. I think we played 6 Division I teams that year. And Steve Anderson, who was our teammate the year before, was going to be the assistant coach. And right before the season started, Wally took a job at Eau Claire, and they made Steve Anderson the head coach at 23 years old, and he did a heck of a job. We just had too many young players, and we got beat in the tournament, and that was it for my playing career, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And thanks to UWS, and thanks to all my great teammates. Thank you.
The Yellow Jacket men's soccer team captured their first championship in 2013. That year, against a rugged group of WIAC schools, Superior finished the season with an overall record of 12-6-3 that included a pair of 2-1 wins in the WIAC postseason tournament. That team was enshrined into the Hall of Fame in 2019, and tonight we honor Nate Engel as the 3rd individual from that championship squad to be inducted. Despite starting his college days in North Dakota, Nate transferred to UW Superior ahead of the 2010 season and played in all 81 matches throughout his 4-year career. Known for his tidy play as a midfielder, he captained the 2013 squad and led the charge to securing the program's first conference championship. It is with great honor that we induct Nate Engel into the UW Superior Athletic Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. As you alluded to, I did start my collegiate career at North Dakota State playing club soccer for 2 years. And a little fun fact about me, first freshman year, we had to do public speaking, obviously as an elective, and I chose to do public speaking online, believe it or not. That was an option, so bear with me as I get through this, but if you guys get bored later, you could probably search me under YouTube and probably find something from 2008 if you guys wish. But no, honestly, this is truly it's a huge honor, and I'm super grateful for the 4 years here at UWS. Honestly, when thinking about this award, I think of the 25 plus guys on the roster the 4 years that I was here. It's not just an individual award, in my opinion. It's a team award because of the squad that we had. We had so many good individual players, individual talent. But I was thankful to be alongside those guys for the ride and capturing the first WIAC championship in 2013, a little bit longer ago, not 2023. But I think the biggest thanks goes to Joe from my 4 years. I think the best piece of advice that he gave me after playing 3 years, I was already 22 or 23 at the time, and he thought I was done, but he's like, hey, why not take the spring semester off? You still have 1 more year of eligibility. And I was like, that's fine. I'm not ready to start life, so I'll take a semester off, and I'll come back in the fall. And super thankful that I did, and we captured that WIAC championship. So aside from that, no, I mean, short and sweet for me. It's a huge honor, so thanks again for UWS. And then shout out to my wife, Jillian. We're celebrating our 7th year anniversary tomorrow, so thanks for being here. I love you. Thank you.
The WIAC women's basketball circuit is one of the most competitive in all of Division III. When Don Mulhern was hired to take over the Yellow Jackets in 2006, he adopted a program with just 1 winning season back in 1983-84. In just a few short years, he transformed the program significantly, and one of the main components to the program's transformation was Connie Sims. Connie contributed immediately, starting every game in her first season. She led Superior in various categories, including minutes played, three-pointers made, and points per game. Connie wouldn't take her foot off the gas as she continued to push the pace throughout her 4-year career and lead in most offensive categories. As a senior, Connie and the Yellow Jackets finished the year 19-8 overall, setting a new program record for wins in a single season while advancing to the WIAC championship game for the first time in program history. She claimed a slew of postseason awards and was named a finalist for the Jostens Trophy Award, honoring the most outstanding basketball player in Division III. It is with great honor that we induct Connie Sims into the UW Superior Athletic Hall of Fame.
A little shorter than everyone. Bear with me for a couple of thank yous. So just it's a blessing to be here, and I want to start by recognizing those blessings and just thanking our Lord for the opportunity to be here and the hope that He brings to us. Some other thank yous, my husband, Justin. He's been my rock in those first few years. He was probably the years of a lot of unfortunate lamenting because the tallies in the win column weren't a whole lot the first couple years here at UWS. So he bore with me, and a lot of encouragement and many challenges and celebrations that we get to celebrate. So thank you, and I love you. My family, my siblings, my parents, my dad is here with us tonight. They taught me from a early age what it means to be loyal, what it means to be a team player, and be servant leaders. So I value those things to this day. Of course, to Coach Mulhern and Coach Hal, who's here, for bringing me here 17 years ago. I appreciate the support and the belief in us. He truly cared about us as human beings before basketball players, and I hope one day my 4 girls will be able to play for someone who cares, so thank you. For Coach Otto Fisher for nominating me for the selection committee for this honor, and everyone who's helped to put on this event tonight, so thank you. It's been a long time since I've probably sat and purposefully thought about the time at UWS. Life gets busy and you just kind of realize it's been 17 years since you stepped on campus, and here we are. But that senior year was especially special, a lot of fun, a lot of good memories and milestones for women's basketball, and it's really an honor to be a part of that group. We remained undefeated at home that year. We received a home game for the tournament for the first time. We competed with some of the best teams in the nation, UW Stevens Point, UW Whitewater. We had a student section that was fun and supported us the whole season. It was a blast, but I'm gonna echo what Nate said. Those accomplishments and honors don't happen alone, and this honor doesn't represent just one person, but it represents a really special group of young ladies. The first couple years were tough. We didn't have a whole lot of wins, but we had really dedicated leaders and upperclassmen, Haley Zawacki, Kelsey Thingold, Bree Davis, and I'm gonna, their maiden names there, who laid the groundwork. Maybe didn't see all of the rewards that some of the younger girls did, but really great leaders in them. We had some underclassmen that helped us, and especially Sally Linsmeyer, the rock star, and she, and other underclassmen really helped us to kind of build that program. But for my own development, I think I owe a lot to the feisty guards that came in with me as freshmen. Brittany, Kristen, Kaylee. We beat up on each other every day, competed like enemies some days, but by the end of the night, we were roommates again, and what led to really a lifelong friendship, and that I call those people my best friends. I don't actually, I always laugh about the time I think I actually gave Brittany a concussion by throwing a cross-court pass, and I remember to this day her trying to get back to playing. If anyone's ever had to pass the concussion test, like saying your ABCs backwards, it's like impossible without a concussion, so. But she still chose to be my best friend, so maybe that's why, maybe there's still some remnants of the concussion. When I really reflect on what I'm most grateful for, more than those team accomplishments is the group of women who collectively stood together to shape the program in a new direction. And so it's the moments I shared with, the people I still call, my best friends, and get to share life's moments now as an adult, as a mother, as a wife. My roommates and I always joke when we get together that we're forever indebted to Coach Mulhern for bringing us together. And actually that was just, the last time we were together was last weekend. But it was also, and what weighs on my heart today is it was the first time without one of our own teammates and roommates, Kaylee. We lost her this spring, and life won't ever be without her. And as I get to stand here and accept this honor today, I get to accept it with the knowledge that her legacy gets to live on through this as well. It's not an individual honor. It gets to represent the legacy of friendship, the legacy of loyalty, the legacy of determination, which are all represented through her vibrant life. So this recognition will always represent more than the basketball court. It will always represent the people I got to share those 4 years with. I'm humbled to be a part of this great honor. I'm thankful to my time at UWS, and I appreciate everyone who's had a part in that. So thank you.
Our next award is the Mertz Mortarelli Coaching Achievement Award, named after UW Superior's legendary coach and athletic director who gave more than 30 years of service to UWS before his untimely passing in 1985. A two-sport letter winner for the Yellow Jackets in football and baseball, Mark Thomas went on to produce an illustrious coaching career. He was named the head women's basketball coach at UW Stout in 1987, inheriting a team with just 2 wins in the previous 2 seasons. Mark converted the program into a national powerhouse, leading his teams to 10 national playoff berths. Any Thomas coach team was responsible for nearly 90% of Stout's total victories. His 31 seasons behind the Blue Devils bench is the longest tenure of any sport at UW Stout, and his overall record of 472 wins and 346 losses ranks third on the WIAC's all-time wins list. In addition to his head coaching duties, Mark assisted the football, baseball, and softball programs at UW Stout. It is with great honor that we induct Mark Thomas into the UW Superior Athletic Hall of Fame.
Before I get started, I got to reach out to Dawn and Connie and her teammates, and some of those L's belong to you guys. So I remember them very well. I remember the three-point shooting, the hustle, the scrappiness. Yes, congratulations. Some great times. Don and I have been friends for a long time now, and the coaching fraternity is a really cool place, and to be able to share a meal with him tonight on his stomping grounds and my stomping grounds is a great thing. So thanks, Don, for all the competition the last few years, but more so your friendship. First off, I'd like to thank the staff here that put on this wonderful meal, headed by Nick Bursick and his staff, and the Hall of Fame committee for selecting me to get this award tonight in honor of Coach Mortarelli. Coach Mortarelli was my coach, and to be up here and have my name etched next to him is really a special thing, and so I really appreciate that. I'd like to reach out and say thank you to Ryan Castenda for the wonderful story that he wrote about me and my journey through the world of coaching, which happens to still continue as I'm going to coach football again this fall at Stout, and then girls basketball this winter at a high school nearby at Spring Valley High School. So still love being on the court and on the field, and looking forward to those seasons coming up. But Nick and crew, thank you for making this such an easy thing to be a part of and get prepared for, and thank you for looking at my material. So I'd also like to thank my teammate and brother-in-law, Joe Snell, who's sitting right over here, for all of your efforts in presenting me to the Hall of Fame committee and to Nick and his staff. I would also like to give a shout out to a former baseball teammate of mine, Rick Gerber, for his efforts in bringing me to the attention of the Hall of Fame committee as well. I'd like to say thank you to my family. I have fortunate enough to have a lot of people here. My daughter Lindsay and grandson Ty, my son Mitch and his girlfriend Annika, my three sisters and their spouses, Joe and Julie. Julie also came to UWS back in the day. That's where they met. Sarah and Clark, brother-in-law and sister, and Jane and Gary. I'd like to also thank my brother-in-law Steve and his wife Karen for coming out tonight, and my mom Helen for making the trip up with us as well. And I have to give a very special thank you to my wife Tracy, who's the one that kept everything together and allowed me to get out and coach. And I was asked earlier this evening how long I've coached, and I counted it up between high school and college. I'm going to start my 107th season this fall in football at Stout, and then hopefully make it to winter for basketball to make it 108. So missing or unable to attend tonight is my daughter Leslie and three more of my grandkids, and also my deceased dad, Bob, who is my hero, who I joined as he entered the UWS Hall of Fame as a Mertz Mortarelli Coaching Achievement inductee in 2004. I also joined my cousin Randy Jones, who was inducted in 2017 into the Hall of Fame. During my time at UW Superior, I often reflect on many memories that I took away from my time here on campus. First off, this building is completely different than what it was when I was here. I think this is where we used to kind of hang out when we had school dances. And I may or may not have done the worm a couple times out here someplace back in the day. But yeah, no, we had a great group of people. I had tremendous teammates in both the football and baseball teams that I played with. Mr. Bottom from Thief River Falls, right? Jeff Mumm, you know Jeff? So Jeff was one of our teammates, both in football and baseball when I was in school up here. Great man. So if you get a chance, say hi to him for me. Appreciate it, sir. I just learned so many things here that I was able to take away, and to be able to come back and compete on campus and to have teams come to our campus and compete was really a cool thing. It was hard. I'm not going to lie to you. It was hard to play against your alma mater, but at the same time, it was nice to be able to get back on campus and keep a connection here. Probably the greatest thing that happened to me in my time here is I met my wife here, and she said yes. We got married, and then we've had a great run with our family, and we have 3 awesome kids. As I browse through the list of great coaches who have been inducted in the UWS Hall of Fame under the Mertz Mortarelli Coaching Achievement banner, I want you to know how honored I am to be part of the long tradition of exceptional people who have received this honor. To have my name etched that is attached to Coach Mortarelli is truly an honor and a blessing. Coach Mertz was one of the greatest men I've ever met. He had so much pride for UWS, his student athletes, the staff, the community, the sport of football. Coach gave his all every day. He was a man of great wisdom that worked tirelessly. As a man of high character, he taught us many valuable lessons. His influence on my coaching career was special. I got to tell a quick story. My sophomore year, we were preparing to go down to Stout, ironically, to play football, and we had a rough go a couple games before that. I think I was the 3rd or 4th string quarterback at that time. Anyway, a couple guys were hurt and out and not going to be able to play, so I ran with the first team the whole week in practice. And all indications were, and what I was told, is I was going to get to start that game against Stout. Well, Stout, which is in Menominee, is 15 miles from my hometown, and I came from a very rich football background in high school. When I left high school, I lost one game all the way 7th grade through my senior year, and we had a win streak of 48 wins in a row, and so it was kind of a big deal, thinking that I was going to get close to home and I was going to be a starter. And we went into the locker room just prior to kickoff, and they changed their mind and started somebody else, which completely caught me off guard, and I just kind of took it, and the game went on. I got a chance to get in and play, had some fun with my teammates, and we had a little success along the way. And when we got back to campus, Coach Mortarelli pulled me off to the side and apologized for that decision. He said he just had a gut feeling, and but that's one of the things that I thought was special about Coach Mertz, is that he wasn't afraid to look you in the eye and fess up to a mistake maybe that he made, and he didn't make very many mistakes. So, you know, that's a memory that I have, that I put into my coaching with my players, is to be able to look both my female and male athletes in the eye and tell them exactly what the honest answer is, you know. And I made plenty of mistakes along the way. But my dad was the one who had the biggest influence on my coaching career. He showed me how much commitment it took, how important work ethic is, what loyalty meant, how to surround yourself with exceptional people, how to expect excellence and chase perfection. He taught me what it took to win. The other coaches I'm grateful for who impacted my coaching career include my high school coaches, Coach Howard, Houlihan, and Krybeck, my UWS coaches, Don Moselli, whose name was talked about earlier with a couple friends, Vince Repish, Scotty O'Brien, Pat Boquette, all people that have been part of the coaching when I was here. Stout coaches, Terry Petrie, longtime baseball coach there, Rich Lawrence, Ed Meyercourt, Clay Birmingham with the football programs, John Muraski, a men's basketball coach, Craig Walter, baseball coach, Steve Terry, athletic director and track coach and football coach, and all the support staff and administration that I got to work with at UW Stout. Another major influence for me was Herm Schleep, who introduced me to the sport of girls basketball. When I left here, I wanted to be a Phi Ed teacher and coach football and baseball. And he asked me to help him coach high school girls basketball, which I knew nothing about, not much about basketball, period. And I said, yeah, I'll do it. And my sister, who's sitting over here, lucky her, she got to play 8 years in a row for me. So her last 3 years of high school, and then when I got hired at Stout, shortly before school started, she was already going there. She had no intentions of playing, but as soon as I got there, I said, you are playing basketball. I need your help. So, and I'm guessing she would nod her head saying that she's glad that I talked her into playing. So, because she, just like Connie mentioned, has some amazing teammates that they still do a lot together. But others I'd like to thank are all the athletes and families and fans and supporters and fellow coaches that impacted my career along the way. I was blessed to coach amazing women and men throughout my career, and they are the main reason for my success and our success at every sport. I'm the byproduct of many great people. Winning 5 WIAC basketball championships and 4 conference tournament championships, competing in 10 national tournaments, winning a WIAC football championship, a football Isthmus Bowl championship, coaching in the NAIA Baseball College World Series, coaching my sister, as I mentioned, for 8 straight years, coaching my brother-in-law Clark, who's over here, as a baseball player, coaching 2 of my nephews, Zach and Sean, in college football, having my sister Sarah as one of our athletic trainers, and coaching with my dad are all highlights of my coaching career and memories that are very special to me. In closing, I just want to say again how much I appreciate being selected to be a member of the UW Superior Hall of Fame. I'm only standing here today because of my family. You guys sacrificed many times over. You are the main reason that this award belongs to us. Thank you very much.
If you went to college at UW Superior in the late 60s, early 1970s, and you actually got married here, That was quite an accomplishment because at the time there were three men on campus for every woman. I got married to a UW Superior grad, but I'm not bragging. This next award is the Dr. Lydia Thiering Meritorious Service Award. This award recognizes individuals who have made substantial and innovative contributions to the principles of wellness in any society, embracing personal responsibility, sensitivity to the environment, nutritional awareness, stress management, and physical fitness. This year's recipient is Alice Brecht. Under the tutelage of now fellow Hall of Fame member David Kroll, Alice became a student athletic trainer at UW Superior, while also competing on the Yellow Jacket cross country and track and field teams. Upon graduating in 2004, Alice became a nationally certified athletic trainer and furthered her studies at San Jose State University. She began her career at Vanguard University in 2007 and later went to Pacific Lutheran for the same role. In 2012, she became the Assistant Athletic Director of Sports Medicine and Wellness at St. Martin's University in Lacey, Washington. She was called upon to develop and facilitate all policies related to COVID-19, and through her countless hours of research and work at the institution and conference levels, Alice led the way to ensure the Saints returned to campus safely. It is with great honor that we induct Alice Brecht into the UW Superior Athletic Hall of Fame.
First thing, thank you. I want to say something to my son, Charlie, and daughter, Betty, who are back home in Washington. They're young, and I just want to say I love you to the moon and back, and I love you always and forever, because they are the reason I do most everything. So, thank you for the athletic department for making me feel so welcome coming back, to the nomination committee, and to the athletic director for this award. I was sitting here thinking as I was kind of writing a speech and putting my thoughts together, because like Connie said, like putting your head back in that space just takes some focus, and with kids you don't have that. I was looking back and immediately flashing back to that moment I came here, sight unseen as a transfer student, not knowing really where my space was going to be here, what my impact could be, what I could take away from it. Not sure how being a West Coast person, or what I get told all the time, a left coast person, would be here. Totally different world for me. I was, like I said, I was a distance runner, and when Superior gave me that opportunity to keep running, I took it. It wasn't really thought that I could do it with athletic training. It was a huge commitment at that time. The biggest benefit I got was this opportunity to cultivate my athletic training with Dave Kroll, and to spend countless hours in the athletic training room, learning and growing and practicing my skill. I took classes. I always knew I wanted to be an athletic trainer. Took classes in high school. I did 3 years of it. Came and worked all the way through, traveling with teams, working late hours, and doing everything I could to make sure I could do athletic training for my career. When Superior gave me that final stop, Dave worked countless hours to help make sure I could graduate on time, which was really hard as a transfer student at the time. You really had to work your tail off, and Dave went to bat for me to get most of my credits transferred in, and I'm forever thankful, because it was a time crunch to make sure that happened. I was fortunate. Dave taught me a lot of things. He taught me how to tape, he taught me how to evaluate, but he taught me how to think the why about injuries, and I think that, and the how to care for your athletes, and I think that was a huge part of what shaped me as I went forward in my career, was how to look at that athlete as that person versus that athlete or that injury that they had coming in the door, and that was a really large part about what prepared me going out into the career, because it was so much more than a job of taking care of injuries and taping ankles and giving people water, which is what everyone thinks we do. But when I finally got out into the career, I looked at it and I said, you know, this is my student that I care about. This is a person who's having this injury. They're going through something. They are more than that injury. They're a whole person. And really getting to spend that time developing relationships with student athletes and developing that care and that wellness for them. That was something I really leaned into, especially as I went through my career and getting into that at St. Martin's University, where I really was given this space to do what I wanted with wellness and really expand beyond. And I had an athletic director, he passed away a handful of years ago, Bob Grisham, that was just, whatever you want to do, Alice, you go for it and enjoy what, I think it's great. Probably a good idea to have some stuff like that, because we hadn't done anything like that in the past. And so creating these wellness programs, I'm fully off of my script now. I don't have anything I'm following. I had a passion for making sure athletes felt like as they left school, they became, I would call them the big A adults. They come into college, they're little A adults. They're 18, most of you all here, they don't know what they're doing right now, but by the end, you want them to be ready for life. And I saw my path as helping them in their physical health, their wellness, as getting to that capital A adult. You know, I'd sit there with students and help teach them how to enroll in a health insurance plan, or how to make healthy choices when you're in a cafeteria and there's ice cream for breakfast. So making sure that as they moved through their 4 years, I navigated and found ways to teach them with small little moments or programs we set up. One of my pride and joys I had at St. Martin's was I had a group of male athletes that were really, it was right in this time of like Ray Rice and some of those areas, and a group of male athletes that were really like, I don't like really what's going on with this world, and I don't like what the negative impact as a male athlete I'm getting. And they're like, we want to do something. So I fostered this relationship with them to help promote positive male role models as athletes, positive people that were doing this anti-violence and strong, positive representation of athletes. And they lived this life for their time there, and they loved it. And they were so excited to learn areas how to be better and to be out there promoting areas of positive representation of male athletes where they felt like they weren't seeing that represented out in media. And I think they did. That was one of the things I felt so strongly about at that time. The time during COVID, I think, was one that really was something I took from Superior, is just being creative. You know, when you're in the athletic training room, you don't have all the things, you don't have every resource available all the time. You make do with what you have. And we were a small school. We didn't have St. Martin's was about a similar footprint, a similar size, similar amount of athletes, in trying to figure out how you make sports happen with barely any budget, no financial support. And I did a lot of research. I watched a lot of news. I read a lot of stories, and found a way that I thought was this navigating point to, we found a saliva machine. So I had athletes in the morning out in the outdoor tennis courts spitting in little tubes so we can run PCR machine testing, which I didn't take any chemistry at all or any sort of advanced science. So I was like, I don't even know what a PCR machine is, but I think we need one. And somehow was able to use some of the networks I'd made to get the board on, the school board on my side, and the health center, the Department of Health, and the biology department to say, sure, we'll give our extra time and run these tests for you. And it was because of that testing, only reason we were able to stay open. Otherwise, we would have had no money to make that happen, which would have been, the big trickle down of, if you don't have butts in seats, you don't have athletics, or you don't have programs or staff or any of that. So it was probably one of those moments I was, really got to put all of those things that you take away from track and cross country, from that grit of working hard, from the time in athletic training where you're working with Dave and you're trying to figure out how to make it work with a small staff or with not all the information. And I think that is one thing that, those are areas I think have been really valuable, and I'm really thankful as I try to pretend like I'm back on what I'm supposed to be saying. Receiving this award is humbling because it is the area, what I've really found the most passion within athletic training. Love an injury, love to dive into all that, but looking at that holistic person has always been what I've enjoyed most about my job. And I was lucky to be able to do that throughout my time at the college. I work in high school now and I teach health and wellness. So now I teach freshman high school kids, which are a totally different world than high school, college freshmen. But I think just being able to work and navigate holistic care for an athlete has always been something I'm proud of, and so to be recognized for that is really special to me, so thank you.
Our final award this evening is the Carl Vergamini Contributions to Yellow Jacket Athletics Award. This award recognizes individuals who make extraordinary and positive contributions to support and promote Yellow Jacket athletics. This year's recipient is John Garver. Now, when I found out that John was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame tonight, I sent him an email and I said, when we get to this point in the program, I am going to go off script. But I promise to be brief and embarrass as few people as possible. 1999, it was a great year to be alive. I think, as far as I remember, I don't have any notes. I had a problem. The problem was, I was doing Yellow Jacket hockey on the radio at that time while managing the radio station and teaching the occasional class. And then Bill Stock called me, and Bill was at that time, he was sort of the Dean Emeritus of the Fine Arts program, and he was directing a play, a Greek comedy, which you probably never heard of, so I won't go into that. At any rate, he was 2 weeks from opening, and he had lost an actor. And in desperation, he picked up the phone and called me. And said, hey, I need somebody to fill in, and you got 2 weeks to memorize the script, and we're opening such. I said, whoa, hang on, Bill. I've got games to do. I've got to find somebody to do the games. And at the time, John Garver was my traveling companion and my color commentator. So at least one person in the booth knew something about hockey. So, so I asked around the radio station if any of our students wanted to take a shot at broadcasting Yellow Jacket hockey. And we had one young man who raised his hand and said, yeah, I want to do that. And he seemed very enthusiastic, and I told him what he had to do to prepare, and I gave him some material, and he said he would, and then we went to Augsburg. Let's just say the audition did not go well. And after the game, John came up to me, and he seemed a little put out. And so he was kind of hurt because he said, why didn't you ask me to do the games? I said, well, I didn't know you wanted to. And he said, well, yeah. And I said, well, okay, here you go. I'm summarizing the conversation. And that was John's introduction to being on the other side of the broadcast booth, where you are most likely to get criticism. So that really, really, really went well, and it really paid off, because later then, John would fill in when he was with the USHL and would have the occasional weekend when I needed a weekend off, and he would come and fill in. And it quickly became apparent to me that he was way better than I was. And so I was very, very happy when he took that on full time. and began to broadcast Yellow Jacket hockey as part of his job, and he's just been doing an awesome job ever since. And John, I know that if your father was still alive, he would be very, very proud of you. John was a member of the Yellow Jacket men's hockey team, skating in 3 Frozen Fours during his career. He would serve the university in various roles following graduation, with his longest to date being the play-by-play announcer, the voice of men's hockey on 91.3 KUWS and Yellow Jacket TV. With over 600 broadcasts under his belt, John has been honored with 5 awards from the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association, including first place in the Best Sports Play-by-Play category in 2025. For 15 years, John held the roles of Sports Information Director and later Director of Athletic Communications. I'm sure that came with a big raise. For the Yellow Jackets. With nearly 30 years of service to UW-Superior, he currently works with the university's Alumni and Friends Association as a major gift officer. It is with great honor that we induct John Garver into the UW-Superior Athletic Hall of Fame.
Doing fine until you brought up my dad. So the waterworks are already going. I don't know what the over-under is, but I'll do my best to kind of keep my emotions in check here. But what a humbling evening as I stand up here and get to see people that I watched compete, like Connie and Nate, and we've got this great group of people going in as the class of 2026. I look back there and I see Mr. McFall, who was inducted into this Hall of Fame 50 years ago, 1976. It's humbling for me now to be a part of this esteemed group. It's also clear that hearing these other speeches tonight, I am definitely not receiving this award because of my athletic prowess. My athletic career, somewhat nondescript, and every year I get asked at least 2 or 3 times, "You were a goalie, right?" It wasn't. I was part of 3 teams that played in the NCAA Final Four, but for me, this is an award that is a culmination of longevity, dedication, not my athletic accomplishments. It's an award that when I look back on, it says more about all the people that have been by my side and for this journey, and it says less about me. So it's about gratitude, and I have a whole lot of people to thank. And so I'm going to do my best to stay within the allotted time, but a really good chance I'm going to run a little long. So sorry, folks. I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee for deeming me worthy of this honor. I want to thank my friend Kyle Nosen for the nomination. Kyle was inducted in 2019. He got really emotional, and I told him, you're going to be all right. You'll be fine. Now it's my turn, and well, I'm doing my best to try to keep everything in check here as I condense 32 years with UW-Superior into 5 to 10 minutes. I want to start with thanking my family. My mom and dad obviously played the biggest role in me being here tonight. As John mentioned, we lost my dad in 2004. My father, God bless him, didn't know a lick about hockey. Couldn't skate at all, but he dove in with both feet. He learned how to skate, barely. Mom's giving me that right there, yep. And he read a lot of books on it so he could help me. He's a great provider for my family. On the hockey side, he made sure I always had equipment that fit, skates that were sharp, and plenty of sticks. I knew he loved watching me play, and I know if he was here today, he'd be smiling about this. In most hockey speeches like this, people thank their fathers for teaching them the game. It was my mom. It was my mother who taught me how to skate and set me on this path. She's also the one that got up at 3:30 every morning to go to work so that our family had the money so I could be a hockey player. Your sacrifices didn't go unnoticed, and I'll never be able to repay you. My sister's also here tonight. You want to talk about sacrifices? This person had to go on all these long hockey weekends, summer hockey schools, and do a whole lot of stuff that probably weren't real high on the fun factor list for her. But she was always along for the ride, and she didn't complain. Tracy, I know it wasn't always easy being John Garver's sister. Understand, though, pretty cool being Tracy Garver's brother. Except when teachers said, you know you're not as smart as your sister. No kidding. Most important people in my life are my wife Allison, my son Teddy. They're the reasons I get up in the morning, the reasons I put the hours in that I do. I pay a price by being tired. They pay an even bigger price because I'm not around. It's a lot of activities, bedtime stories, family time that they have to navigate on their own because I'm off working games. I respect you so much, Allison, for accepting the role of sports widow 9 months out of the year. You've given me more grace and support that I deserve. And I've always said that if you told me to stop, I would right there on the spot. But I'm grateful that they haven't asked me to do that yet. I love you both more than you will ever know, Teddy. That means to the moon and back times infinity. People have always asked me why in the world I tolerated the long hours that I worked, the bus trips, to call hockey games in buildings that are cold enough to hang meat in. Mark Thomas, UW Stout, to my right. Why I would put up with the day-to-day grind of the job. Well, it's pretty simple. I love the experience that I had here as a student. And I made it a goal that I wanted to give every student athlete that ever came through the doors here at UW Superior the same experience that I had. A lot of that has to do with the group of people that I had a chance to play games with over my 4-year career. My core group, Brent Shabak, the first teammate that I met, best friend that I made when I was playing here, and I hope one day he takes his rightful place in this Hall of Fame. Dustin Fall, Dean Reed, Tom Pink, Brian Barker, my line mates, Tim Walsh and Randy Barker, my roommates, Chris Chilios, Scott Wagner, Kevin Pascal, Jeff Anderson, the non-hockey guy who hung out with the hockey guy, so he was basically a hockey guy. You guys made this experience the best 4 years of my life. The guys I didn't play with, David D., Steve Ellsmore, Bruce Leonard, Kyle Nosen, to name a few. We were never teammates, but they are today some of my closest friends. Stephen Barb Erickson, every year, every road trip. Thank you for always being there and for your never-ending support. Dave and Pam, what can I even say? You've made me one of your own for decades, and I love both of you like a second set of parents. David and Jan Kroll, thank you for being very understanding neighbors about having a group of college hockey players living across the street. And you tell Jan, I'm still looking for that plate. Paul Buckley, my friend, I miss you every single day. Just like this is the special group of guys I played with, students that I supervised, I also have a group of great colleagues that I owe so much to, because without them, I don't have a job. I'll start with the hockey coaches, Steve Nelson, Dan Stauber, and Rich McKenna. I think the biggest reason I'm up here tonight is because of my time as the radio voice of Yellow Jacket Hockey, and these guys have allowed me unfettered access to their teams, letting me grow as a broadcaster, put together broadcasts that are as good as any in college hockey. Rich, your trust in me and your friendship means everything. Joe Mooney, I appreciate that every single time I use the word meat grinder, you let me know. I also appreciate that you pick up when I hide words and phrases and stories and recaps, #flannel. Glenn Drexler, he's not here tonight, but I appreciate our tradition of donuts on Mondays after he wins conference championships. Melissa Fracker, my little friend. Thank you for always entertaining Teddy with an office duck hunt. We appreciate that, and that whole Sweet Caroline thing really wasn't my fault. Greg Polkowski, thank you for the candid conversations in the golf games. I still really want to know how many steps he takes on the sidelines during a basketball game. And Allison DeGroat, we don't have to hope you had the time of your life. We know it because you came back. Don Mulhern is here tonight. When Don needed a really arcane sports nugget, he would visit me and my own special brand of sports knowledge. He's the reason that my office was once called the Sports Knowledge Repository. He's also the one guy in the hallway who had a sweet tooth that surpassed my own. Our lunch discussions were unrivaled, my friend. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this man sitting right over here, Nick Bursick. I'm not standing here. I might not even be working here if it wasn't for Nick Bursick. Your guidance, your insight, your patience, your ability to let all of us be ourselves while still holding us accountable says so much about the leader and person that you are. UW Superior has an absolute gem guiding its athletic department. I want to thank the supervisors I've had over the years, Steve Nelson, Nick Bursick, Jeff DuPont, and Gene Thompson. I appreciate the support all of you have given me and the latitude that I've been allowed to do things the way that I thought I needed to do them. I also want to thank all the assistants that I've had over the years in the athletic communications field, David Nelson, Bryce Harp, D. Joe Hansen, Stephen Ives, Tyler Birnbaum, Holden Law, Emma Peterson, and of course, Ryan Castaneda. Couldn't have done the job I did and stayed on the air if it wasn't for them. Ryan, I forgive you for showing up to work wearing USC gear that one time. I want to thank the people that I've been on the air with over the years, especially my longtime friend and analyst, Jason Rohn, and my first radio partner, Dean Reed. Thanks also to my partner in crime, Matt Johnson, without whom the Eye of the Swarm podcast, available on Spotify, would not be a thing. We're only on the air on KUWS because of the army of student workers that are back in the station every night. And I've been fortunate to have 3 station managers over my decades who believed in what we were doing and let us build great broadcasts. Tom Hansen, the late Paul Danberg, and the incomparable John Munson. I don't know where I start, John.
You got 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's going to be a little longer than that, man. I just finished my undergrad and was working on my master's degree and helping Steve Nelson out a little bit as the hockey coach. And the night before the 98-99 season opener, we're sitting back in the coach's office, the phone rings. And Steve answers, and anybody who knows Steve, he's real intense, he's real direct. And the conversation was something like this. Yeah, we got it covered. He hangs up the phone and he looks at me and goes, "You're on the radio tomorrow." It was a deer in headlights moment. I called plenty of games in the alley and in the street as I was growing up, but never one that actually mattered. And so the next night I showed up at the press box and John introduced me to the amazing world of hockey on the radio. This man has taught me more than he'll ever realize about broadcasting, the world of radio, and life. He went from being a guy I called games with in the early days to a trusted mentor, to a golf partner, and a very dear friend today. The most fun I've had on the air were the days where I was calling games with John Munson. And thank you for having that play in February of 1999 so I could actually take a crack at play-by-play. The last person I need to recognize is Steve Nelson. Steve was my coach when I was a student athlete here, giving me an opportunity to keep playing when I wasn't sure if my career was over. He was a mentor to me when I was finishing graduate school and trying to get into the world of gainful employment. And then when I was at my lowest professionally, he and Chancellor Erlenbach came up with a plan that would provide me with an opportunity to stay here at UWS. That was 16 years ago, and now I can't imagine being anywhere else. Everything I've been allowed to be a part of here, everything I've been able to accomplish here, everything I am here is a direct result of opportunities Steve Nelson has given me. I wish he was here tonight so I could look him in the eye, but instead, my deepest gratitude has to do. In closing, I want to paraphrase a quote I once heard from Billy Martin, the former manager of the New York Yankees. When asked about his time in New York, he said, "I wasn't the best to ever wear a Yankees uniform, but I was the proudest." And that's how I feel about UWS. I'm not the best Yellow Jacket there's ever been, but nobody's been more proud to be a Yellow Jacket. Thank you.
John, you'll be happy to know that I think I learned as much as you did when we were in the booth together. I never played hockey. I started doing hockey because we didn't have anybody else. And, you know, needs must. But one thing that you told me about yourself, I have stolen. You told me that a high school coach of yours used to say, "Garver, stop thinking, you're hurting the team." And I've adopted that as my golf mantra. Stop thinking, you're hurting the team. All right. Well, we've come to the end of another Hall of Fame ceremony, and let's have another round of applause for all of tonight's inductees. And as a great friend and impresario that I used to work with many years ago, I will just say this. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Drive safely, and go Jackets!